Hello and welcome to War or Nothing, the number one podcast for amateur boxers across the UK and beyond. We're trying something a little bit new today. We are going to do an audio-only segment of the podcast, episodes rather, where we discuss the previous week in boxing. I'm joined today by my brand new co-host, Mr. Brandon Anthony State, who many of you will recognise from the first episode. Brandon?
First time was so nice, had to do it twice, came back.
Exactly that. How are you doing today?
Yeah, not too bad, mate, not too bad, you?
Very well. We both trained this morning. We are currently sat in a changing room at Mikey's boxing gym in Kidderminster, the best boxing gym in the Midlands, or should I say the UK? You probably shout at me for that. We both trained this morning, and we're just coming into our very first season, as amateur boxers. A lot going on. I'm currently taking a bit of a backseat, trying to do some other things in my life. But you're all, guns blazing, all steam ahead, trying to get going with your first amateur season. So how's it been going?
Yeah, not been too bad, to be honest. Training's training, isn't it? It's the same day in, day out. Wake up, train, go to sleep, train. It's a pattern at the end of the day. It's whether you can keep it going or crash and burn.
I find it funny because training for amateur boxing or any sport really is monotonous and patterned in a way. Like you do the same things day in, day out to get better, and maybe you get 1% better each day. But then boxing is that. So like you're working a pattern to get better, but then you're working to break the pattern of your opponent.
Yeah,
the rhythm of your opponent.
Yeah.
It's quite funny. So this week in boxing has been quite an eventful week, quite an eventful few weeks to be honest. So some of the news kind of veers from 1 to 2 weeks ago. A couple of things coming up. So we're obviously going to talk about the sad passing of Ricky Hatton, age 46. Very, very sad there. We're going to talk about the controversy of Paddy Donovan versus Lewis Crocker 2. Plenty to get into there. Quite an interesting one. Been quite divisive for the boxing fans. Split on opinions. And I know you've got your opinions on that as well. And then we're going to get into the Eubank Benn press conference. Again, some controversy there.
Yeah, always is with Eubank Jr., isn't it?
I'm going to say it wouldn't be a Eubank Jr. press conference if it wasn't
controversy.
Exactly, yes. So we'll get into that. Michael Connor versus Jack Bateson. I like both fighters here, so it was interesting one to see. That was also in Ireland. That was in Dublin, I believe. Channel 5.
Yep.
That was is it Wasserman Boxing. So that was quite an interesting bout. We'll get into that. And then, of course, how could we not? Crawford versus Canelo.
Yeah, it was only a little boxing show, wasn't it? In
Tiny.
Vegas, yeah, tiny. Two tiny fighters going on it, Laura.
So we'll get into that. So I think I wanted to start today by jumping into the Paddy Donovan versus Lewis Crocker rematch. The first bout was in March at the SSE Arena in Belfast. The rematch was also in Belfast.
It was.
Quite an interesting one, quite spicy at times. We saw... before we get into the details, what was your first impression of the bout?
Well, I watched it live. Luckily, it was on the same day as Crawford Canelo, so it was quite nice actually. You had like a whole night of boxing. You could just go from one to the other. So I was like, that's pretty nice. Pat Donovan was on the undercard. All these good people on the undercard. Meatball Molly, she had a professional debut on the undercard as well. She looked good. Her opponent kicked her, which is crazy to think actually. And then obviously the main event, which is the main thing. I think it was a bit of a rocky start for Paddy. I think he came out maybe a little bit too confident. He thought it's probably going to be similar to last time. But if you saw the promotional clips, Crocker's coach, he said that something happened on the day of that first fight. That's the reason Crocker had a bad night. And I think Donovan, didn't really look into that, didn't do anything about that. So he just had that overwhelming confidence of like, yeah, I've kind of already beaten you once. The judges took it away from me. The ref took it away from me. I'm going to do it again. And I think that's what led to those early knockdowns was that overconfidence. But other than that, to be honest, I thought Donovan outboxed him. He was on the front foot. He was aggressive. And Yeah, overall, I think it was an amazing fight.
When you say the confidence of Donovan, do you mean he overconfidently kind of walked on to those shots and got put down?
Yeah, because in the first fight, Crocker had a very high guard, leaning in with his head. So I think that really suited Donovan and his style. That slick kind of style of boxing. Those uppercuts were coming in, the left hooks, the hooks to the body, stuff like that, and he was catching him. But this time we saw Donovan. He was kind of sat on that back leg, kind of a mid to long range guard, where he was kind of waiting for Donovan to come in, knowing he was going to, and catch him with the counter punches. And I don't think anyone expected Crocker to come out like that. You could definitely hear it in the commentary, the way they were talking about it. They were like, no one expected Crocker to come out like that. So I think that may have caught Donovan off guard with the confidence boost that he thought he had. I think it was trouble for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think so I went back and watched the what do you call it? The table talk. I can't remember what the official, the
face to face.
Yeah, the face to face. And plenty of the comments were saying, this is obviously before the fact. They're saying, Crocker's got no confidence. He looks like he's lost all his confidence. He's definitely going to lose. It's Donovan's fight, blah, blah, blah. But really, I don't know if it's because I knew kind of the conclusion of the rematch or what, but I didn't really get that from Crocker in that face-to-face. He just seemed like a quietly, assured guy. He seemed like he was just quiet and confident at the same time. But yeah, let's talk about the knockdowns. So round 3, Donovan goes down from a counter Crocker left hook.
Paddy Donovan. Lovely shot, countering, and down he goes, Donovan. And he has been floored for the first time in his pro career.
To me, it looked awfully soft. And actually slowing it down, because you can slow stuff down on YouTube, which is, I'll often do that just to see, like, how did that shot land there, He hit him on the shoulder, it looked like, more than didn't see it land on the chin. I mean, it looked soft in real time. So then slowing it down, it looked more of kind of like a half a push using, I think they mentioned this, I think Sonny Edwards maybe have mentioned this in the commentary, using Donovan's momentum to kind of like shove him almost.
Yeah.
So I don't know. He got the count for it, but was it a knockdown? Not too sure. I mean, it was a shot at the end of the day, and it was a well-timed shot. Wherever it landed, regardless, it was a well-timed shot. But then again, Crocker times a perfect left overhand, and this is probably one of my favourite shots I've ever seen. And Donovan just goes flat to the canvas in the 8th.
It's been a really good round this.
His legs literally buckled underneath him. He just went straight down. Like
Yeah.
it was almost like a building collapsing. It was just boom, straight down, and his legs gave way beneath him. And immediate takeaways like, wow, what a shot! Perfectly timed on the button. You can see it if you go back and watch it. You can see him waiting for that shot, and then he just takes a chance, boom, and it goes off like a firework, boom, and down goes Donovan. But Donovan's recovery was so good. I thought.
Oh yeah.
You can see him. He's pretty much straight up. He's in the corner. He's getting his breath back. You can see his coach from that point. I think, just saying, take a breath, basically.
Yeah, relax a little.
But what a shot!
They were good shots. And you could see that was the game plan, was to use Paddy Donovan's momentum against him. Crocker, in my opinion, obviously I might be wrong here, but the way I saw it was he was trying to counterpunch all night. Instead of going forward, put his head on his chest, go forward like he did in the first fight, which he didn't really have a lot of success in. I think the game plan was to counterpunch, let Donovan come onto shots, and it looked like that from round 1 up until round 12. Really, he didn't really come out the blocks being ultra aggressive. So it's like those shots will land eventually. It's just the timing of them, and I think that's what they've been working on, is that timing of Paddy Donovan coming in, because he's southpaw, Paddy Donovan. He's southpaw, so obviously, from yourself, sometimes that can be a bit tricky to time with the whole, their right hand's in front, your left. So it's lead hand battle, lead foot battle. But you could tell he was always trying to time that left overhand, because Donovan comes in and he drops his lead hand every time he comes in with a backhand. And so, you knew he was going to it, and that's why he threw it. He threw that same shot over and over again because it was landing.
Yeah, it was like you say, a well-timed shot. And I just wonder if I'm sure this was the case, but was he letting over the course of the rounds, because that was in the 8th, of course. So over the course of the eight rounds, was he letting Donovan kind of build a false sense of confidence, coming in and maybe letting him get away with 1 or 2 shots? I don't know, but yeah, it did seem like he was waiting for those shots all night long, and I think they even mentioned in the commentary that's a shot he's waiting for. That's a shot he's waiting for, But yeah, I mean, Crocker win. Some people still contest that and say, I mean, the thing is, he won a split decision in the rematch, and they say it was a much closer contest than the first one. The first one, of course, ended in controversy when Donovan was disqualified for that punch after the bell, which actually in the face-to-face was interesting because Donovan did say, yes, it was after the bell. Watching it back, he said he doesn't contest it. It was after the bell, but he didn't hear the bell.
Yeah.
That was his argument, which I thought was interesting. Because then he went on to mention, you know what it's like as a boxer, everything goes quiet, but surely that one you would hear the bell. But I think that one ended in controversy. He also had points deducted in rounds 6 and 8 for illegal use of an elbow and a head, which I think is more his style, to be honest. It's kind of tricky when you're you go low, you come up.
Yeah,
I mean, I've had it in the gym.
Yeah,
and accidentally butt heads with a few people, and it can be frustrating for other fighters because it seems like an intentional, headbutt.
Oh yeah.
And when there's cuts and stuff involved, because I think Crocker's eye closed in that one, didn't it?
It was his left eye. Yeah,
he was throwing
quite a lot
wild shots after it closed up.
Yep.
Almost landing with a couple. I mean, if they'd have hit Donovan on the button, I think it would have been lights out. And then after that shot, after the bell, Crocker obviously just went down, and that was that, disqualified. Donovan visibly upset in the corner, crying, and visibly upset again after this rematch. Where does Donovan go from here? I very much doubt we're not going to see them cross paths again.
Not for some time.
No,
I think there definitely will be a trilogy, because really, first one ends in a DQ. Second one, a lot of people like myself thought Donovan won, so you can see that narrative being pushed, and it sells money. They sold out the stadium that they were in, the football stadium, sold that out.
Windsor Park it wasn't it, in Belfast?
Yeah.
Again in Belfast, and not Donovan's neck of the woods. So he's the away fighter again. Maybe that went not in his favour, but it would be interesting to see them cross paths again. But I don't know whether that will happen. Like you say, it's all a money game. So if it makes enough money, and gets enough bums and seats, and I think they'll probably make that happen. Elsewhere in the boxing world, let's move over to the Michael Conlan Jack Bateson fight. I don't know if you've seen this one, but for me, this was Channel 5 Wasserman Boxing. Interesting because Conlan has kind of been on this, I don't want to say comeback, but trying to get his groove back after a few losses. I think most notably for me was the loss to Lee Wood when he got knocked out of the ring. That was
knocked out of the ring.
A very bad one. I think he's had a couple of tricky bouts since then. Jack Bateson, good opponent in Jack Bateson. He's no mug. I saw a couple of comments on the YouTube saying, "Who's this guy? Just a bin man." It's like, you have no idea,
Yeah, that's the thing that annoys me quite a lot. Is like, it was the same for the AJ fight when he came back against Franklin. Like, Franklin he was a good heavyweight at the time. And obviously people are, but Franklin's a bum, he's not really in the top 15, stuff like that. But it's like, what do you expect? Do you expect him to go, back-to-back fights where realistically, it could potentially be career-ending fights, at any point against top guys? And it's like, we've seen it before where, for instance, Canelo, Billy Joe Saunders, Billy Joe lost, and he's been gone. He's gone up to heavyweight. So, we might see that fight at heavyweight now. But it's like,
I don't know, he keeps getting in trouble with the law, Billy Joe. Right?
Yeah.
It's not looking good for him.
Realistically, it's the promoter's job, it's the manager's job to rebuild that fighter back up. And it's like, as long as the person knows how to box and is a worthy contender in, let's say, the top 100, really seriously, no one should have a problem with it.
Yeah. I think, Jack Bateson was not to be overlooked. But it was a wonder night for Conlon, knocking Bateson down. I forget the round. This is bad, isn't it? It was one of the earlier rounds, but I had to go back and rewatch this because initially I thought, oh, that's... even though it was a heavy knockdown, I thought, oh, that's a kind of... shouldn't have stopped it there. But on second look, I mean, basically, Conlon throws this terrific right hand. He switches into orthodox right before the shot.
Yep.
And then throws his wicked right hand. Bateson's, throwing his jab hand out, so he's got no cover on his chin. Boom, straight on the chin. Again, folds him completely, but Bateson falls back onto his leg. And you can see it if you slow it down. I slowed it down again. And the way he falls onto his leg,
It's a bit weird.
it's no good. And you can see as soon as Bateson gets back up from that shot, he's hobbling around. And I think that is part and parcel what they called it quits. But take nothing away from the shot from Conlon.
Oh, nice.
And I will say this, Conlon looked in the best shape.
Yeah.
He's always been in good shape.
Oh, yeah.
Always been in good shape, but this is the best shape I think I've ever seen him. He looked an absolute menace in the gym. I follow a couple of the guys that go around and do video stuff for him. Mo, really great videographer. I think he was actually doing the Donovan fight, doing a lot with the Donovan around the promo and then the fight night itself. But yeah, he does a lot with the Conlon, and the training footage. He just looked in incredible shape, like a man with a mission. And fair play, he's come back. He's made a statement. Does he now go on to secure the Josh Warrington fight? That'd be an interesting one.
From what I heard, I saw this, I think it's a total rumour, but I think they're trying to make either the Lee Wood fight 2 or Josh Warrington fight. I think it's like a freeway between those lot. It's like Josh Warrington, Lee Wood could fight Lee Wood, and Mike Conlon, all these people want to fight each other. And now I think it's which one's probably going to make the most dollar for starters, because obviously you will. And who's probably going to retire soon, realistically, because I think Lee Wood at one point was on about he doesn't want to do it so much longer.
Yeah.
Josh Warrington, I think, also is like...
Yeah, they've both done it for a long, long time.
I'm getting old a bit.
Yeah. Same with Conlon.
To be honest.
Same with Conlon. You're right. All that thing from the Olympics. I think Conlon favours and I could be wrong. I don't know if he's come out and said anything about this. He probably has, but in my mind, Conlon favours the Lee Wood rematch, just based on the type of guy he is. He wants that revenge.
Yeah, he just wants to.
I mean, look at the whole Nikitin arc from Nikitin's obviously the boxer he fought at the Olympics, got screwed over. And then I remember years ago, because Boxer was doing a lot with Conlon at the time, he was on this, what does he call it now? I can't remember what he was calling it, but it was like the Conlon Revolution or something like that, I think. He was just gunning for Nikitin. He wanted that revenge, and he got it in terrific fashion. He beat that bloke from pillar to post that night and got the respect, and, they were respectful after, and it was interesting. But I think the type of guy he is, I don't think he can let stuff lie.
No.
He feels like maybe, not that he was necessarily done dirty in that fight. I mean, it was a wonder shot right at the death of the 12th round, wasn't it, from Lee Wood? Yeah. But I think he probably won't be able to walk away from the sport until he rights that wrong, in his own mind. Interesting to see where it goes. And as always, we'll keep you updated. But Crawford versus Canelo. You know more about this one than me. I'll be honest, when there's a massive, massive fight, I tend to, I'll keep tabs with it, but I don't know what it is about the bigger boys. It doesn't really excite me as much. I suppose me being the weight that I am, I tend to watch boxers that are kind of around the same weight. Or
That's about your weight.
Huh?
That is about your weight.
Canelo?
No, Crawford originally.
No, but now, I mean.
Oh, yeah, now, what was that, 168, what's that, kilos, about 70 kilos? No, it's about right.
They're heavier than me, for sure.
No, about 70 kilos, I'd say.
Well, let's put it this way, I'm not in the same shape as either of those types, so I'm discounting that completely. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, for some reason, it didn't really grab my attention. I don't know why, as a boxing fan, but you know more about this one, so what was your first impressions of the fight?
First, I was thought, damn, I'm tired. Because for some reason I just despise fights in America, especially these big fights, when really there's better places to host them in the world where everyone can watch them. But, you know, they're both American. Well, one of them's Mexican-American, so it makes sense to have it over there. But other than that, I thought it was brilliant from Crawford. The game plan has been, like, the blueprint has been put out there before by, you know, Bivol, Mayweather on how to beat Canelo. And I think he did that perfectly. You know, that was his fight to fight. And I think, you know, Crawford is a good boxer. Like, you know, he's generational talent. Whereas Canelo, I see him a bit as a puncher, man. I don't really see him as a boxer. You know, if you say who's the greatest Mexican boxer, I'd probably say like Cesar Chavez, you know, because he was a good boxer. You know what I'm saying? But Canelo, to me, he's more of a puncher. He's always suited that kind of counter-punching style where it's like, I'm going to walk you onto a shot. Boom, one big shot and you're going to go down. And it kind of reminded me of the, what's his name? Is it Pulev? The guy who fought light heavyweight when he first won the World Championship light heavyweight. He fought him, and the whole night, Pulev was pretty much barring him. He was getting the jab out, boom, moving around, kind of like Crawford was doing. And it wasn't until very late on where Canelo caught him with that one shot, boom, that put him down. And I think that's what Canelo has relied on against these boxers who can move and stuff like that, is they get tired a bit. He weathers the storm, and all of a sudden, boom, that one shot comes into it. But I'm not going to say Canelo's on the slide, because he's not. You know, I heard a good analogy about it. He got to the top of the mountain. He's still at the top. He's just now coming down.
Yeah.
So he's still at the top, but he's just on the other side.
Yeah.
And I think that played into Crawford's favour. Yeah, Crawford is older, but you've got to realise Canelo's been pro fighting since he was 15. And so it's like, realistically, he's been doing this for a long time now. And yeah, he just didn't look the same to me. He looked a bit gun shy at times. He looked a bit angry. It seems like, you know, his emotions got the better of him, especially towards in those later rounds. And I think maybe the whole weight class thing maybe got to him. You know, everyone telling him, Crawford's coming up 2 weight classes. You know, he's jumping up. He's not going to be able to handle the power of the Mexican destroyer. You know, all this stuff, the pure breed Mexican. But then it's like, realistically, you could say the same about Canelo when he went up to light heavyweight.
Yeah.
I mean, all this stuff, innit?
What is next for Canelo? Well, first and foremost, what went wrong for Canelo on the night, do you think? I think it was being gun shy and waiting for that perfect, you know, kind of counter punch. Maybe, because what they do say about Canelo is, and what's been said about him over the years, is that he will let fighters get away with shots for 5, 6, 7 rounds,
and then
he gets to work, you know. And was that the case in this fight? Did he wait too long?
With Canelo, the way I see Canelo is every single shot he throws is powerful. His jab, power jab. Right hand, boom, he's coming to try and sleep you. Every single hook, uppercut he throws, he's throwing it with power because he just wants to knock you out. That's kind of the Mexican way. Go in there, get knocked out, or knock the person out. Whereas Crawford, you know, he stuck to a good game plan, and he changed the pace on his shots. You know, some of them were just tapping shots, scoring point shots. Some of them were effective shots, throwing more power into them, get the attention of Canelo, you know, pushing back a bit. And I think that's why Crawford is so good, is because he can do that. Like, I'm not going to take anything away from Crawford. I think Crawford is the greatest I've seen in my generation. I think he's better than Floyd. But me personally, I think Crawford is him. And so it's like, with Canelo, I think, again, I'm not going to say he's on the slide, but being on that downhill side now, he's like...
How old is he now?
He's 30-something. Crawford's 38.
Yeah. He's more than 30, is he?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. So I think Canelo's 36, if I remember, or 35. He's 35 or 36. But it's like, the problem with Canelo is he doesn't have a second game plan. The game plan is go out there, try and bomb the person out, weather the storm, nice high guard, move in, drop some shots down to the body, come over the top. And that's the whole thing. That's what we saw the whole night. That's what we saw with Bivol. That's what we saw with, you know, Benavidez. Well, not Benavidez because he never fought him. Belanga, Jamie Munguia. You know, all these people. It was go in there, counter punch, boom, throw these big heavy shots.
What did he hit Munguia with again? I forget that.
It was uppercut. Right uppercut. Left hook over the top. And he just, boom, dropped him. And it was kind of the same with Belanga. He stood there, caught it, and then boom, came back with a left hook. And that's what he does. you know, I just think stylistic wise, that's all Canelo is.
Do you have to beat Canelo on the inside, beat him at his own game, do you think?
I don't think you do.
Catch and counter quick, though.
Catch, counter, be quick.
Yeah.
I think that is the plan for someone like Canelo.
Be quicker.
It's like Bivol. He didn't really stand there in the pocket with him. He was just boom, in, out, really quick hands.
True. Yeah, that is true. Be interesting to see what the Mexican does next, though.
He's got 2 more fights with Riyadh season because they signed a 4-fight deal. Obviously, he fought William Skull, which was terrible fight.
I forgot all about that.
The worst fight ever. Good. Like, I think we should all forget about it. And then obviously the Crawford fight. But His Excellency Turkey has said that he wants Canelo to retire with them. So obviously he's got 2 fights left on his contract, which is like over triple, like 9 figures, which is crazy, by the way.
Moving on, 2 final things that I wanted to mention today. Of course, the sad news of Ricky Hatton passing away at the young age, and I'm going to say young age, of 46. That's no age to die. At his home in Hyde in Manchester. The family made a statement. I mean, as a journalist, I will say this. It seems a bit morbid, but I've been kind of hooked to how the world is reacting to this, how they're reporting on it. There's, the Manchester Evening News have done a really good job of keeping the public up to date. Because I think when you're a public figure and somebody like Ricky Hatton, who's known as the people's champion, which in my eyes is worth more than any belt will ever be worth.
Yeah.
Having that reputation is worth its weight in gold. Being known as the people's champion, the public almost feel like they deserve to know what's happened to their hero.
Yeah.
They want to know a bit more, which is fair enough. Some people are not necessarily going about it in the right way, but it's been interesting. But yeah, the family made a statement saying that he had actually been excited for the future. And, that was, of course, reflected in his final post on social media. He posted, as he always, did post, which was a video of him training. I think he said he'd just done a 5K at home on his treadmill. So seemed in good spirits, which, is odd the way it's all ended up. But he was due to have a rematch with Alda, I think his name is, in Dubai. They'd done a press conference. Ricky had done it online. And the boxer since had come out and, paid his own tributes to him as well. But I wanted to mention it and say, very sad loss for the boxing world. My favourite ever Ricky Hatton story, which came about the other day because it came back up when with all this. And I've forgotten all about it. I think it was Lad Bible that first published it. Well, Ricky had posted it to social media. I think Lad Bible first ran the story, a few years ago now. It was Hatton was away on holiday in Mykonos, and there's a photo of him with an empty plate, looking rather sad. And he'd ordered a steak, and it was called a Kobe something steak.
Yep.
Not realizing that the steak was £830.
Oh, mad.
And he was very sad when the bill came. I think the overall bill ended up being like £2,000 something. But the steak alone was £830.
That's mad.
And Hatton said that he'd woken up in a puddle of tears when he realised that he'd have to pay that much. But yeah, I think that's probably one of my favourite stories about him. Because, the man could afford it. But I think it's just the even no matter how much money you have, that's still a ridiculous for a steak. And I think that's the lasting legacy that he'll leave is just one of the lads, is what they say, and kept it real with his fans and everybody at all times. But yeah, very sad to see a family of great boxers. I actually got to see. I've never met Ricky, but I met his brother briefly, Magic Matthew Hatton, of course, an ex-professional himself, and then he was coaching I believe it's his daughter Lola Hatton at the championships, who's also a very talented boxer. And of course you got Ricky's nephew, Jack as well, I think his name is. But both, a family of boxing greats. So yeah, sad news. Just wanted to mention that there. What's your favourite memory of Ricky Hatton?
My favourite thing that I've ever seen of Ricky, he keeps popping up now, is, do you remember for the Mayweather press tour, they went all around the world and everything like that, And for some reason, Ricky just turned into this absolute amazing stand-up comedian every time he got onto mic.
Yeah.
He was making everyone laugh. And like rewatching the clips now, because obviously, like you said, they keep popping up. It just makes me laugh, man. And I think that's probably one of the best things that like I've seen of him. And like it's a good memory to have, because I think if you can have that much of a laugh and a joke about something so serious as boxing, I think, you're doing it right, because sometimes there's people too serious, take it too serious, whereas I don't think he ever really saw that side of it. He just loved doing it.
Yeah.
Because he did.
Turning up to the ring in fat suits, because he was known as Ricky Hatton for putting all the weight on for the Guinness he drank in between fights and whatnot, and the food he ate. Yeah, always making the public laugh and smile, and like I said, keeping them kind of close and not really like, adopting this "I'm better than everybody else" thing that often, I will say, especially American boxers tend to go down the rapper route of, "Oh, look how rich I am." Is what I mean. Floyd is the perfect example of that. That's why I believe those two kind of created a magic, because they were just two complete opposites. And it was fascinating to see. But yeah, sad news. Rest in peace, Ricky Hatton. The final thing, and it's a bit more upbeat, a bit more exciting news, is something for myself, but it's to do with England boxing documentaries, which I've shot and I've talked your ear off about, Brandon. For months and months. I spent the last kind of 6 months working on these episodes. There's 5 episodes that will be going live on England Boxing's platform, The Locker, which you need to be a member of to view. The trailers will be going live across social media, I believe, so keep an eye on those. But I'm going to be biased and say they're well worth the watch. You've seen a little...
I've seen a little, but I want to watch all of them, to be honest. I am hooked on it now. I want to watch all of them.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. I'll pay you later on, mate.
Tell me that $5 underneath.
Yeah. But basically, the episodes follow elite amateur boxers across their journey throughout the national championship.
That's why you didn't film me.
Exactly. Yeah. Sorry, mate. Maybe next year. Do the national championships and kind of, I was on the ground reporting of like what that's like to be part of those championships, what it's like to compete at that level, and it was a real interesting kind of insight for myself, and hopefully that transpires to the audience when they watch it, of that weird and wonderful world of elite amateur boxing.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for those, and plenty more to talk about. We haven't really touched on. In fact, we haven't touched on. Let's just finish on this. We haven't touched on the Eubank. Eubank Benn press conference, which I am actually yet to watch completely in full, but of course made the headlines for a bit of a strange reason, linked, of course, to Ricky Hatton. I say of course because there was a tribute paid to him, video tribute at the end. However, bit of a funny one in that, and again divisive, in that Edward Hearn wanted to pay tribute to the late great Ricky Hatton, and Eubank, up to his old tricks, didn't really let him get away with talking about it. Now there's a lot of division there. Eddie Hearn knew what he was doing. Using Ricky Hatton is in bad taste, blah blah blah. On the other hand, you've got people saying Eubanks
should have just accepted it, allowed him to speak.
Yeah. What's your opinion on this, Brandon?
Tune in next week. Now, joking. It's one of those. I think Eddie Hearn knew what he was doing. I think he knew straight away Chris Eubank was going to go, stop talking. He literally did it every single time last time. So he knew what he was going to do. And it's like, realistically, I think he could have preempted that and gone, okay, he's going to do that, so I won't do this. Or just get Connor to say it. Or, like they did, pay tribute to him at the end. Or at the beginning. Something like that. I don't think it's either one's fault, but I think they're both to blame. I think they both knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And I think it could have been handled a lot better.
Could have done without it entirely, to be honest. Like you said, there was a video tribute at the end, which was very nice. Ben was obviously wearing the Man City shirt in tribute. I didn't realise, to be honest, how much, or how linked, rather, Ben and Hatton were. Yeah. So Ben was saying that Hatton was responsible for, training him at one point brought him to his gym and got quite emotional. I think it was an interview with Coogan for IFL. Didn't realise how close they had been, but it was interesting. But yeah, could have done without it. Kind of soured the event a little bit.
Yeah.
What would have been an exciting, drama-filled press conference, no doubt. Anyway.
Yep.
So kind of sad to see that used in a way. I don't know, or like kind of in the same sentence. Yeah, plenty of tributes have been left for him at different sporting events, including the Manchester Derby, which was the day after, I think.
Yep.
He passed. So yeah, bit of an on one. But are you excited for that fight?
This is going to be a really weird answer. No. I think the first one was just so good. The build up, everything. Eubank Jr. There we go. Eubank Jr. For those who don't know, obviously, because you can't see it, the lights just went out where we were. So it kind of...
We were in pitch black.
we were a little bit confused then. But no, to me, the whole thing of Chris Eubank Sr. coming in really late, saying, no, I didn't teach you that, Johnny, all this stuff, and saying, no, you're disrespectful, and all this stuff that he was saying. Then Chris Eubank to go, I've never felt loved, all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, boom, he turns up. It was something straight out of the wrestling. And I think, that really brought the people together. And it was just the hatred between these two men. They hate each other for years, and we finally got it. I just don't think you could build that up again. I don't think it'll be as successful. I don't think it'll be as good.
Like, where'd you go from there?
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, the fight was electric itself.
Oh, the fight was amazing. Fight of the year, personally, for me.
Again, like all boxing fans, we will probably tune in.
I'm still going to watch it either way, but it's
let's be real. We will tune in. We will be watching it, but interesting to see how it plays out. We're what, a month removed now from the bout itself.
Yep.
I think about a month.
Yep. November, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it not?
September, yeah.
Yeah, November. I want to say 13th.
13th or 15th. I think it was 15th.
It's one of them, isn't it?
Yeah, but either way, we're about a month removed. So as that hots up, it'll be interesting. I mean, it pays that Conor Benn, well, both of them really, but Conor Benn, I think he was in the gym the day after or something like that, his home gym.
Yeah.
And it was just like, wow, this guy really, he lives this life. Very interesting. But yeah, plenty going on in the boxing world. Plenty more to come over the coming week. I'm sure there've been updates on things we've talked about today in the last hour,
Actually, yeah, I saw something earlier. So Crawford vacated his belt.
Oh, okay. There you go. So, yeah, plenty to go up and read up about and bring you more. So, yeah, we'll be back next week. These audio-only episodes will be going live every Tuesday. And, interviews with amateur boxers, the best of the amateur boxing world, will also be going live as and when they happen. So keep an eye on those. And, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to War or Nothing with myself and my co-host, I was going to say Anthony then, but Brandon Anthony State. And, we will catch you in the next one. Bye.